Hey guys, this is Joseph with the Hard Time Strongman podcast, training up a better class of man. And today, I have a Dadisode for y'all called Mini-Me. So, as the name suggests, we're going to be talking about our kids. So, your children, for better or worse, are a reflection of you. They're a little you. So, I look at my oldest son, R, and he looks just like me, but he's my wife. He's his mom. Like our personalities, their personalities are so similar. And then I look at my youngest son, C, and it's like he looks just like her side of the family, just like, her whole kind of, all the boys in her family, but he's me. And we're best buddies, and he follows me everywhere, and he's just a mini me. But if you're a parent, you know what I'm talking about. Your kids are a clean slate, none of your baggage, but you see these little things that they do, and it's like, oh my gosh, like that's me. Like he gets that from me, she gets that from me, because with the whole nature versus nurture mindset of raising up kids, they get these certain attributes from you. So they have those naturally, right? They're nature. But then how you bring them up, how you make their childhood is the nurture, and that's how they're going to turn out. So in the word, Proverbs 22:6 says, train up a child in the way he should go. Even when he's old, he will not depart from it. So your little girls, your little boys, however you raise them up, however you train them up, is how they're going to be. If you raise them up to be kind, they're going to be kind. If you raise them up to be gentle, they'll be gentle. If you raise them up to be patient, they'll be patient. Also, the flip side of that is true. So if they see you being impatient, if they see you being rude or brass or aggressive, they're going to share those traits. That's why it's so important for us to model the behaviors that we want to see. As our job as parents, especially as men, to be the very best that we can be, because we know that they're going to be watching us. We know they're going to see everything that we do. They're going to hear everything that we do, no matter how much we attempt to shield them from it. They're going to see the good, the bad, and the ugly with us. They're with us too often. So it's important, and I've talked about this in episodes past, that as parents, it's our job to be the, well, I already said to be the very best. But when I was kind of remaking myself, I had this thought of, whatever man, like the man that I want to be, what would he do in this situation? And I would do that. And taking that in every situation. And, of course, my, how my parents raised me, was a big part of that. A big part of, that decision making. But I wasn't happy with who I was. And so I decided to change that. Okay, so I want to be strong. I want to be wise. I want to be patient. So what would a strong or wise or patient person do in this situation? And I would do that. So another way to think about that, if you have children, okay, so I want them to be kind. I want them to be patient. I want them to be gentle. I want them to be strong. So how will I emulate that for them? What will I say to them? What will I model for them that they'll want to do these things, right? So a great example. So my wife, earlier today, she was taking a nap, and I had to get into our bathroom, which she had locked for the toddler running around being the maniac that he is. But I had forgotten the key behind, in the bathroom behind that door, so I was unable to get in there. I took a debit card out of my wallet, and I shimmed the door, and it opened, and my 5-year-old be popping around. He was just looking over my shoulder, and he watched me, and he said, "Dad, how did you open the door with your pay thingy. And it took me a sense like, oh man, like, yeah, he sees everything and he's just tracking every little thing. And so I told him and said, oh, well, I obviously took him away from my sleeping wife so we didn't wake her up, but I took him to another door in our house and I showed him how the doorknob works and how everything fit in there. And I took out my tools and I showed him how to shim a door. And the thing with kids is that not only are they going to emulate your behaviors, but they're going to want to do everything that you do, whether that's hunting or fishing or hiking or playing video games or reading or whatever. So if you want your kid to, be a big reader, you need to be reading around your kid. You need to be reading with your kid. If you want your kid to, really be invested outside, you need to play outside with your kid. That needs to be part of your life, your everyday life, because that's what they're going to see. That's what they're going to do. That's what they're going to know. And kids are incredibly resilient. So even if you screw up, which you will, it's not going to be the end of the world. Even when you screw up, you can take your kid inside and you can say, hey, you saw that. I saw that. I did that. It wasn't right. I'm sorry. This is what I should have done. This is what we need to do. And they'll say, okay, Dad. And you can go from there. Kids are wonderful. And especially in the younger years where they are learning everything from you, this is such a huge opportunity for you to give them everything that you didn't have. Not, only money, not a big house, not a great car, whatever. None of this, none of these physical, things, but values, education. So, think of something that you would have really loved to have learned and you didn't, or your dad or your mom didn't teach you this, right? And then teach your kid how to do that thing, because that's a value of yours. That's something that is important enough for you to remember and to think, man, I really wish that they would have taught me this, right? So think of that and try to do better. The one thing that we can do as children, as fathers, going down the line, is trying to do a little bit better every single time. And your kids will appreciate that and they'll emulate that, so that when they're parents, they will have the same mentality and they'll try to teach them, they'll try to love more and more and more. So I'll leave that with you guys. As always, a huge shout and thank you to Sven, Brandon, Ethan. Y'all are part of the Patreon. You help keep the lights on. Guys, if you have any questions, comments, concerns about the show, if you have anything that you wish that your dad would have taught you, shout out in the comments, send us an email, hop in the Discord, let us know, and help us continue to train up a better class of man. Until next time, it's Joseph with the Hard Time Strongman podcast, training up a better class of man. Stay in the fight.